الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء. واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. They do good deeds as well. What is the difference between the deed of a Muslim and the deed of a non-Muslim? One of the most important and main differences is the intention why the believer is doing what they do. What is known as niyyah, or our intention. Having the correct intention makes the difference between a regular act and the act of a believer. And that is why our spirituality is so very, very extremely important. There was a man in Islamic history who I'm sure many of you have heard of, specifically sitting here in this Islamic university. This man, his name was Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala. And I know many of you have heard of Imam Malik and the status of Imam Malik, and many of you have heard of the stories of Imam Malik being the Imam of Medina, and how he is considered one of the most amazing scholars to exist in the history of Islam. Imam Malik in his time had told his colleagues he had made the intention to compose a collection of hadith, what he would call a muwatta. So Imam Malik, he told his colleagues, he told the scholars of his time, he said, I want to compose a muwatta, a collection of hadith. And some of his peers, some of his colleagues, they said to him, why would you compose another muwatta? We already have other muwattas, meaning there are other scholars who have collected hadith in this manner. Why would you do the same thing over again? What is the point of it? And in response, Imam Malik said one of his famous statements. He said, "Ma kana lillahi yabqa." He said, that which is done for the sake of Allah, it remains. And you know, subhanAllah, there's two main meanings to this statement of Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala. Number one is that if I am doing something for the right reason, if I'm doing something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then I can be satisfied in knowing that regardless of the outcome, that regardless of success or failure, that regardless of acceptance or not, that my reward is secure with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning it doesn't matter if there is one muwatta or 50 muwattas, because if my intention is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if my intention is to seek the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it doesn't matter how many muwattas have been composed before, because I am doing this to be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there is not a human being who can take that away from me if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reward me. Ma kana lillahi yabqa. My reward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remain. And that aspect is so very, very important, because sometimes we look at our actions, we look at what we do, and we look at the worldly outcomes. And sometimes we get disheartened. Maybe we started a project. Maybe we took on a responsibility. Maybe we got married. And that is a responsibility for us. Whatever role we are playing in life, see the results that we anticipated, or the results that we wanted, or the results that we desired in this life, we can give up hope. I had done this for the success of the project. I started teaching a class so that 100 people would attend, and only 5 people came. I started giving da'wah, I started educating people about Islam so that people would come and listen, but nobody is listening. What are these other than worldly dunya results? And so if we are only looking at the worldly results, then we can lose hope. But a believer understands that if the intention is correct, then regardless of the perception of whatever endeavor we have taken on, we are satisfied, we are fulfilled, we are spiritually happy, knowing that our reward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remains. And that is what drives us as a believer, not whether something is accepted or not. And yes, we all like, it is part of human nature to want to be appreciated. It is part of human nature to want to be recognized. It is part of human nature to want to be loved for the efforts that we are doing. But the problem with expecting that recognition and that love and that respect from human beings is that human beings are fickle. Human beings are constantly changing. One minute someone may love you, and the next minute they may hate you. One minute they may appreciate what you do for them, and the next minute the person may turn around and say, you do nothing for me. And so if our self-worth, if our emotional well-being is tied up 100% in how people view us, in how much we are loved by the people, in how much we are appreciated by the people, then we are setting ourselves up for failure. And that is why it is so very, very important that regardless of what we do, that we have the intention that we are doing this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost. And if you're having trouble with making that intention, then you can remind yourself that I'm doing this because I desire the love, or I'm seeking the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala above everything else. If you're having trouble making the intention, then you can remind yourself that no one can recognize us the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can recognize us. No one can reward us the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward us. No one can love us in a way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can love us. And that is why one of our driving factors is we say, yes, it is human nature to want to be loved. So feel that love, so seek that love. Don't fight your instinct. I'm not saying don't have the desire to be loved. All I'm saying is take that desire to be loved and seek that love from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you know, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam even told us of the amazing thing that happens when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves us. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said that when Allah loves a person, then Allah calls out to the angel Jibreel and says, oh Jibreel, I love so-and-so, so love this person. And the angel Jibreel begins to love this person. And then the angel Jibreel calls out to the inhabitants of the heavens, meaning the angels, and he says to them, Allah loves so-and-so, so love this person. And the angels begin to love this person as well. And you know what the amazing thing about this narration is? That this hadith doesn't stop here. Because for God, within of itself is enough for us. If we know that when Allah loves us, that the angels begin to love us as well, alhamdulillah, that's enough. But the hadith doesn't stop there. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that when the angels begin to love this person, that Allah even places acceptance for this maybe in this life, or maybe in the afterlife. But that is the beautiful aspect of seeking the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rather than the love of individuals. And you know, the reality is that people, not only are they fickle, not only do they change, but people also forget. You may do something for someone, you may sacrifice a lot for someone, and maybe they forget. And any parent who is sitting with us today can maybe relate to that. How parents sacrifice for the sake of their children. When a parent has a newborn child, they have to do everything for that child. Everything. If the child were to be left on its own, without the parents taking care of the child would not survive. The parents have to feed the child. The parents have to even burp the child to make sure that they digest the food. And then the child goes to the bathroom, and the parents clean the child as well, and the parents bathe the child, they give the child love, and they sacrifice, and they sacrifice, and they sacrifice, and then one day, to their shock and horror, a parent may find, may Allah protect us, a parent may find that their children don't appreciate them. And wallahi, that can be something that destroys an individual, if that is all they are seeking. If their well-being is tied up only in their children, then what happens psychologically and emotionally to a parent whose child rejects them or doesn't appreciate them? It can be devastating. And that is why it is important that even when it comes to our children, yes, we want them to love us. Yes, we want them to appreciate us. But above all of that, we seek the love and the appreciation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا وسيدنا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. In the first khutbah, I spoke about what it means, what happens when we seek reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala above everything else. And as Imam Malik, he said, مَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ يَبْقَى, that which is done for the sake of Allah, it remains. That one of the meanings of that is that our reward is secure with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we never have to worry. As long as our intentions are right, as long as our intentions are for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it means that our reward is secure. And that is one of the most fulfilling aspects of what we do in our life. And that means, by the way, that we are fulfilling our lifestyle as a believer, that spirituality permeates everything that we do. That is why our ummah is a great ummah. That is why we claim to be the followers of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That we can stand up and say we are following the example of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the pinnacle of spirituality, the best example. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. In the Messenger of Allah, there is a prime example for you. So when it comes to spirituality and religion and faith and God and all of that, we can look at the world and say we follow the best worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We can be proud of that aspect. But we have to live that life as well. And how do we live that life? We live that life by making sure that everything that we do has an aspect of spirituality. And how is that done? That is done inside the heart. That is done with our intention. That even when I'm driving my car, I'm doing it for the right intention. So now spirituality becomes part of my driving experience. Even when I'm picking up my children from school, which just seems like a worldly action, it becomes an action that is filled with spirituality because I'm doing this because I seek reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what it means to be a spiritual being. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. The actions are by their intentions. That we can make it. That our whole lives become actions. Our whole life is full of actions that we are rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I know oftentimes people look at scholars and imams and sheikhs and so on and so forth, and they look at them and they say, that can never be me. I can't live like that. I'm just a normal Muslim. I'm dealing with my sins and my problems and so on and so forth. That's just a different class of people. And we tend to give up hope. But the reality is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it that even in the seemingly mundane, seemingly small matters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can place a huge amount of reward. You know, some of the companions that came to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and they complained about a matter. They came to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. These were the poor companions, the companions who were not wealthy. And they came to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and they say to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ذَهَبَ أَهْلُ الْكُثُورِ بِالْأُجُورِ. They said, those who have wealth, the rich, they have taken all of the reward. Why? يُصَلُّونَ كَمَا نُصَلِّي. They pray as we pray. يَصُومُونَ كَمَا نَصُومُ. They fast just like we fast. However, there's a difference. وَيَتَصَدَّقُونَ بِفُضُولِ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. But the companions, they say to Rasulullah, but they have extra wealth. So they can give charity that we can't give. Right? SubhanAllah, we complain about not having wealth sometimes for a different reason. But the companions were complaining about not having wealth, not for their own desires, but for the desire to get more reward from Allah. So they say to the Prophet, basically in essence what they're asking is, how is that fair? That Allah has given the rich more opportunities than the poor, because they have more wealth by which they can give charity. And then the Prophet explained our spirituality to us. He said, hasn't Allah made a way for you to give charity as well? Meaning gain reward. Hasn't Allah given you certain abilities to gain reward as well? And the Prophet gave examples. He said, بِكُلِّ تَكْبِيرَةٍ صَدَقَةٍ. Every time you say Allahu Akbar, that is charity, meaning you are rewarded by Allah. بِكُلِّ تَسْبِيحَةٍ صَدَقَةٍ. Every time you say Subhanallah, that is sadaqah, that is reward from Allah. بِكُلِّ تَهْلِيلَةٍ صَدَقَةٍ. Every time you say the shahada, la ilaha illallah, there is reward. And then the Prophet said, even in the relations that you have with your spouse, there is reward. And the companions, they get surprised that there's reward in that. That's something that we do for our own enjoyment. The relations we have with our spouse, how is that reward? And the Prophet reminded the companions, and he said, isn't it the case that if you were to fulfill that desire in a haram, impermissible way, that you would be sinful? And they said yes. And so the Prophet said, likewise, when you fulfill your desires in a halal way, you are rewarded by Allah. What is the message of this hadith? The message of this hadith is that we can do things, even things that we enjoy. But if there is spirituality attached to it, if our intentions are to live our life under the obedience of Allah, then even for something that we enjoy, we can be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the beauty of seeking the love of Allah above everything else. And you know the end of the story of Imam Malik is that his statement was not only true in the sense that whatever is done for the sake of Allah remains, meaning the reward remains, but even in a literal sense, مَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ يَبْقَى, that which is done for the sake of Allah remains. And today, when we hear the Muwatta, we hear the word Muwatta, we only think of Imam Malik. We don't think of the other Muwattas. We don't even know of the most of us don't even know of the other Muwattas. We only think when we hear the Muwatta, we say the Muwatta of Imam Malik. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not only preserved his reward for him in the akhirah, but likewise Allah preserved the effort that he did. And that means that if we want success not only in the akhirah, but success in this life as well, then we have to have the correct we want the aid and the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then make the intention that this is being done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the reward for Allah. And that is why we live our lives trying to increase our sincerity, trying to rebuild that connection, trying to strengthen that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not a single individual sitting here today is perfect. We are all flawed. We all make mistakes. We are all trying. So Allah doesn't expect us to be perfect 100% of the time. Allah doesn't expect that we will always be sincere in everything that we do. But what is expected, what is required from us, is that we are constantly trying. That when we feel that we are being disconnected from our faith, disconnected from the right intention, disconnected from our spirituality, that we push ourselves to be sincere once again. And that happens the more we submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more we involve in those actions that are between us and Allah, the more it strengthens those matters. So I leave you with this. Find something in your life that you can do only and only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you need help thinking about something like that, I'll give you one example. The prayer in the last third of the night, when the whole world is sleeping, everyone around you is sleeping, your family and your friends are sleeping. You wake up in the last third of the night, and it is only you and your Lord. If you wanted to be insincere, you couldn't. Because there's no one to look, there's no one to see, there's no one to praise you. It has to be done, at least in that moment, it has to be done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more we do that, the more our sincerity increases. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن الله أمركم بالصلاة والسلام على نبيه وقال إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وارض اللهم عن الخلفاء الراشدين أبي بكر وعثمان وعلي وعمر وعن آل البيت الطيبين الطاهرين ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم أصلح واحفظ سلطان هذا البلد وبلدان المسلمين اللهم آمين اللهم اهد شبابنا اللهم اهد أهلينا اللهم اهد نساءنا